Hello, so today I'm going to be making a tutorial for this pumpkin bucket hat for you guys. It is very similar to my rainbow bucket hat, just the top is a little bit different, but basically the rest of the hat shape is the same as my rainbow bucket hat if you want to use that as a reference. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so for this tutorial you're going to need some worsted weight yarn. I have orange for the pumpkin, I have brown for the stem of the pumpkin, and then I have green for the leaf. This is Mainstays 100% acrylic yarn. I got this from Walmart. This is some old brown yarn. I don't even know if they sell this brand anymore. It's called Remember. You can use any brown yarn that's a worsted weight. And then this is Impeccable from, it's Loops and Threads Impeccable from Michaels. All of them are worsted weight acrylic yarn. So you're also going to need a 5mm hook. This is a Clover Amore hook and I got it at Joann Fabrics. You're gonna need some scissors and then you're also going to need a yarn needle of some sort. So first we're going to make this stem, so I'm going to start off with my brown yarn. I'm going to make a slip knot, put it on my hook, and then I am going to chain 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to be doing single crochets. I'm just going to work 5 single crochets across there. Alright, so this is going to be the length of your stem. If you want your stem to be any longer or shorter than this, you can just adjust your initial amount of chains. From here, I'm going to turn. I personally do not chain 1 in between rows of single crochets. If you usually chain 1, I'm going to say go ahead and do that. It doesn't really make a difference. So I'm going to start my row with just a regular single crochet. And then in all of the middle stitches, I'm going to do the back loops only. I know this brown yarn is harder to see, but I'm going to go through the back loop only, do a single crochet, and I'm going to do that in the next one, and then the last one I'm just going to do a regular single crochet again. And then I will repeat that. So we're going to do this for a total of 12 rows. And what it's going to do, it's going to create sort of a ribbing effect. So it should, you know, look sort of like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that for 12 rows and then I'll come right back. All right, so here are my 12 rows. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And you can really see the ridges better now. But from here, I'm going to crochet across this end. This will be the top, and I am wanting to kind of like cinch it together. So normally if I was just going to crochet across here, I would go into this hole right here first, but I'm going to skip that one and go into the next one, which is right here. It doesn't really matter that much which holes you're going into as long as you're slip stitching, and then I'm going to pull it tight. So I'm going to skip my next one, which is here, go into the next one here. Like I said, it doesn't matter that much. I'm just kind of cinching closed to the top of our stem. So I'm going to go into every other available hole, do a slip stitch, and cinch it down. So see how it is curving together there. Now at this point I've reached the other end. I'm going to put my hook in our first stitch. I'm going to grab my other end and we're actually going to close up the stem now. I'm really sorry that this is hard to see with the dark color of the yarn, but like I said, I put my hook through our first stitch of like our initial chains. I'm I'm going to put it through the first stitch on this side as well. I'm going to yarn over and slip stitch those all together. So we just went around here and closed it off. I'm going to go into the next stitch on this side, next stitch on this side, do the same thing, yarn over, pull through, pull through, pull through. And I'll do it down all 5 stitches. So that was 1, 2, this will be the 3rd stitch. I'm going through this side, going through this side, yarn over, pull through, pull through, pull through. So that was 4, and this will be my last one. The bottom, I have 1 stitch left on both sides. Sorry. Here's that one, that side, yarn over, pull through, pull through, pull through. So at this point you should have a little rounded stump, and it will probably have a small hole at the top. That's fine. If you want to sew it closed, you can. I always leave mine open because you can't notice it. From here I'm going to go ahead and cut off my brown yarn because that is the whole stem. I'm gonna leave like 3, 4, 5 inches because I'm actually gonna use this yarn later to sew on my leaf. So I'll just tighten that off. Now that I have my stem done, we're going to grab our orange yarn to work on the pumpkin, and I'm going to do a slip stitch, slide that on my hook, tighten it down. And I want to put 24 stitches into this stump, so this stem. So if you remember, we did 12 rows. Generally, you should be able to put 2 double crochets in every end of the rows, and then you should end up with 24. But I'm gonna start here. You can start anywhere. I don't really like to start where this is because then it tends to stick out, but if you crochet over it in like normal crochet rows, then it won't. So I'm going to just take my yarn over, insert it, and do a double crochet. That's 1, 2, in the same stitch. I'll go to the next one, 3, 4, go to the next one, 19 and 20, and whenever I get to this part, I just hold the brown strings inside the hat and I'll just crochet to the next hole. 21, 22, and then I have 1 left, so I'll do 2 in there. That should be 23 and 24. So there's that. I did 2 in every stitch and I came out with 24. So in the last stitch, I will slip stitch this closed. And I like to take this opportunity to go ahead and tie off my orange end. So I'll leave my loop on my hook, kind of turn it over, and tie these 2 in a knot. A couple of knots, at least 3. If you want it to hold up. Cut that off. Okay, so we have 24 orange connected to our stem, and we have 2 brown ends just chilling on the inside. I'm gonna leave them there because we're gonna use them later. So for the next round on our hat, I'm gonna go ahead and chain up 2, and we are going to be increasing every other stitch. So I like to increase in my first stitch. So I'm gonna do 2 double crochet in the beginning. Oh, and I do not count my chain 2 in my stitches. If you would like to chain 3 and count that as a double crochet, you totally can. So I did 2 in my first stitch. I'm gonna do 1 in my second stitch, 2 in the third stitch, 1 in my fourth stitch. So every other stitch we are doing 2 double crochets together. So as you go around, if you are counting your stitches, you should end up with 36. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. All right, I just finished that round. I have 36 stitches. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my first double crochet to connect the round. And then we'll go ahead and start the next round. So I'm gonna chain up 2. I do not count this as a double crochet. And then for this round, we're going to increase every 2 stitches. So I'll increase in the first. So I'll put 2 double crochets together. I'm gonna go ahead and double crochet 2 regular. 1, it's 2, and then in the third one is when we'll do another increase. And we are just going to repeat that all the way around, increasing every 2 stitches, and we're going to end up with 48 double crochets in the row. Here's that round finished. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch it closed. The next round, we are going to be increasing every 3 stitches. So I'll increase in the first one. That's 1, 2 together. I'm going to do 3 double crochets normal. 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll increase again. So we increase, 3 regular stitches, increase. 3 regular stitches, increase. I'm going to do that all the way around. Whenever I get back to my beginning, I should have 60 stitches, so I'll meet you there. That row is finished with 60 stitches, so I'll close it off. And the next row, we are going to increase every 9 stitches. So I'm going to increase my first one. Then I'll do 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and after I've done my 9 stitches, I'm going to increase again. So that's 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And then I'll do 9 double crochets again, 2 double crochets, 9, 2, 9, 2. After you do that all the way around, you should end with 66 stitches. So after I do that, I will come back. I just finished that last row and I slip stitched it closed. So at this point, we are not going to do any more increases on the hat. And for reference, I want to let you know that my circle is about 7 inches. I would put it, if I hold it above the stem, it looks smaller, but whenever I bring it down here, it actually is 7 inches across the center. So just for reference. But like I said, we're not going to be doing any more increasing, so basically we are just going to be double crocheting regularly around once in every stitch. We're going to do this until it gets to a good length. We want the hat to stop right above your ears, and then at that point we will start the bottom, like where it flares out. For me, that is only going to take 6 rows. So I am going to be doing just regular double crochets all the way around for 6 rows, and that's going to be long enough for me, but I totally suggest that you try the hat on. Do as many rows as is good for your head. Or you can measure somebody else's head for orders, or you can just follow the video and do whatever I'm doing. So I am going to be double crocheting in every stitch all the way around for 6 rows, and that is going to start curving the hat, bringing it down around your head. So I'm gonna do those 6 rows, and then I will meet you back and we'll start the brim. All right, I did my 6 rows. Here it is. Here's what it looks like. It's yeah. So at this point we are going to start flaring out for the brim. I already slip stitched my row together. I'm going to chain 2, and then we're going to be increasing every 2 stitches. And also we are going to be working in the front loops only. So if you look at the top of your stitches, this is the front loop. This one is the back loop. So we're just gonna work in the front loop only. So I will go through the front and catch that front loop only. So I will increase in the first one, do 2 regular in the front loop only, and increase again. And I'm just gonna work that all the way around in the front loops only, doing 2 stitches increase, 2 stitches increase. I'll come all the way back around and then meet here. All right, so here is that row. As you can see, it starts to flare out just a little bit. I want to flare mine out even more. So on the next row, I'm going to continue with the increases every 2 stitches, but we don't have to work in the front loop only anymore. We just do them regular stitches. So I'm gonna do that same stitch pattern again, where I increase, do 2 regular stitches, and then we'll increase again. 2 regular stitches, increase, and I'm gonna do that all the way around until I get back to where I started. All right, so here it is. I just finished that second row of increases. This brim is roughly enough for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop the increases. If you want it to be more roughly, you can do more increases. You can do what I'm doing, you can do whatever you want, but now I'm just going to work on the length basically. So I'm going to just do another round of just double crochets in every stitch. You can add as many rows as you want. I'm just going to be doing 1 more rows of the double crochets, and then I'm going to go around and do a row of single crochets. But if you want your brim to be longer, you can obviously just do more rows. So like I said, I'm going to do this row of double crochets. I'll come back and I'll show you the start of the single crochet row, and then after that we are gonna put on a little leaf. All right, so I just finished that round of double crochets. I'm gonna slip stitch that closed, and then like I said, I'm just going to do 1 row of single crochets to finish off the brim area. So I chained 1, and I'll just start with my single crochets. I'm doing 1 in every stitch. I'm gonna go all the way around, and then I'll show you how I tie off my yarn and weave in the ends. Okay, so I've come all the way around with my single crochets here. As you can see, I just cut off my yarn with a couple inches to spare, but at the end, the way that you weave it in without it leaving a very noticeable gap, I just pulled my yarn straight up from the loop. I'm gonna take my yarn needle and thread it up. And then we are going to continue the loop pattern that goes along the front. So we gotta go under this loop here, go through that, and then the loop comes back around and it goes down this area, and I usually just go like through the front of that stitch. You can pull it tight and it looks pretty seamless, not like completely seamless. I can kind of see that little knot right there, but anyway, I'm gonna take my yarn and I like to weave it down a couple inches under the brim of the hat. And then for extra protection, this is a 4-ply yarn, so I like to split it in two. So it'll have 2 strands each. I take one of them, put it back in my needle, and go under some pieces of yarn. Bring it back up so that they are separated now. And then I take those 2 pieces and I tie them in a knot a couple times. I try not to pull on it very much because you could break off the pieces. But once I get to my like 3rd or 4th knot, I do start pulling it very tight. So now that that is all secure, it's never coming out, I'll just go ahead and snip it off. The knot is like really tiny, you literally can't even tell. So at this point, the hat is done. You can leave it like this if you don't want to add the leaf. Like this is totally fine. This would be my back of it, really. But anyway, I'm gonna add a leaf, so let's go ahead and move on and do that. I've got my green yarn color here for the leaf. You can use any color green you want, it doesn't even have to be green, but I'm going to go ahead and make a slip knot, put it on my hook, tighten it down, and I'm gonna chain 6. After I've chained 6, in the second chain from the hook, we're going to go through and I'm gonna place a slip stitch. In the next one, I'm going to go through, we're going to do a single crochet, so I'll yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And the next 2 stitches, we're going to do double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, double crochet, next one, yarn over, go through, double crochet. And in our last chain, I'm going to do 6 half double crochets, and while I'm doing those 6 half double crochets, I'm going to kind of work my way around the last chain so that we're on our other side. I just did a double. Okay, so that's 1 half double, 2. Now I just did my 3rd, and I've done, it's brought me up to the center. I'm gonna do my other 3, and it should bring me around to the other side. So that's 1, 2, 3, 6 total, and you see how I started here and it brought me all the way around to the other side of my chain. And we're going to just repeat the pattern back down this side. So I did 6 half double crochets, I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the other side of my base chain. So that's 1, that is 2, and then it was a single crochet, and then in the last one it was a slip stitch. And that makes you a little leaf. So I'm going to cut off my yarn, pull it out, and then we have a leaf, and we will sew it onto the hat now. All right, so I'm going to look inside my hat, find the spot where my my two brown stitches, my two brown yarn ends are, I'm going to like stick my hook up kind of like right next to them or right in the same spot. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab these two green pieces and pull them down and through the hat as well so that they are next to those. I'm gonna go ahead and tie them together. That is not how we're attaching it. We're gonna do some sewing, but I feel like this secures it a little bit. You don't really have to do it. All right, now I'm going to take my longer piece of brown yarn. I'm going to thread that up. And I'm going to bring up the brown thread in like the bottom of the stem area. So here's what it looks like on the outside. Here is what it would look like on the inside. Move this out of the way for you. I'm going to go in at the bottom and make sure it is corresponding with where the leaf is. And then on my leaf, I'm just going to go through some stitches and pull it down. I'm going to do it again on the other side. Come through at the bottom of my stem, grab some stitches from my leaf. So you can do that as many times as you want. I'll probably do it just like 2 times at least, maybe 3 times. Just to make sure my leaf is pretty secure. So there's what it looks like. Perfect. So one other thing that I do that is not necessary, you don't have to do it, but see how the leaf is kind of just like flapping up and down? I like my leaf to lay on the top of the pumpkin, kind of like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some green thread . I can feel my leaf with my fingers on the other side so I know where it is. I'm going to put my green thread up through the leaf. I'm gonna find just a place to loop it around, and I'm going to pull it back through so that it holds down the leaf to the top of my pumpkin so that it's not flapping around everywhere. And after you do all of that fun stuff, you just get to tie off all of these strands that you have inside of your hat. All right, so there is the inside. All the ends are tied off. Here's the top of the hat where we just sewed on that leaf and tacked it down. Here's the whole finished project. I really hope you guys like it. It's really cute for Halloween, cute for little kids. If you want to find like a baby size hat pattern, you could do the same, connecting the top and the leaf thing and just make the overall hat smaller. Super cute on a little baby for Halloween. If you guys liked it, give the video a thumbs up. All my social media, my TikTok, my Facebook, my Instagram, everything will be down below. But if you have any other suggestions for tutorials, let me know. I'll work on them. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe.